I'm going to make a video on a topic that some people may consider quite shocking if you think about it. Um, there are Protestants, and I mean that in the the Reformed tradition. They're Baptists, they're Methodists, they're Pentecostals, Anglicans if you consider them Protestant, and various other Protestant groups that will actually that are opposed to the idea of worshiping saints, praying to the dead, or offering food to the dead and such things. But they do it anyway with one particular dead saint. They'll offer food to the dead, and they'll teach their children to write prayers to the dead. Now, I've read in the Coptic Church that they'll write prayers to dead saints, and that's how they pray to the departed saints. But usually Protestants don't do things like that. But in this one case, they do. And of course, the saint is St. Nicholas. Now, we all know that St. Nicholas apparently passed away, and there are traditions about that he had a tomb, but people will teach their kids to write prayers to St. Nicholas for lots of materialistic toys, or lots of toys for Christmas time, and they write these prayers. And there's a movie about prayers to St. Nicholas sent through the mail. They didn't call it prayers, letters to Santa Claus. And they teach their children that let's see, oh yeah, offering food to the dead. Of course, we know St. Nicholas has passed away, and we would normally consider offering food to the dead to be a pagan custom. But there are parents that'll teach the kids, oh, let's offer these cookies to St. Nicholas, who's passed away, by the way, and he'll eat them and leave you some presents. Of course, they don't tell their children that St. Nicholas is dead, but he has passed away. Jesus is alive, and as far as from what I've read, St. Nicholas is gone to be asleep. So why is this okay? My wife grew up on a tropical island, and her family actually was from a Protestant background, but the pre-Christian history of their people group was that they were into ancestor worship, and some of her relatives would offer food for the dead, and they would cook the food, and then they would leave it out and then do some things, ritual, whatever, to offer it to a dead relative. And then they knew the offering had been accepted when it was cold. And there's some freaky stories about half of the glass of tea being cold and the other half hot. They said he drank the cold half, and some weird stuff like that. Freaked my wife out when she was a kid. She didn't want anything to do with it. She didn't eat the food just because she thought it was freaky. And there was some other kind of demon possession things with possessed by ghost spirits, they thought, and other things that would in the practices there. But anyway, we think about those kind of practices as Western people. If we hear about them as Christians, we're going to condemn those practices, or think they're wrong and they need to be expunged from the culture if people are claiming to be Christians and they're offering food to the dead. But it's always somebody else's culture. I mean, if you try to examine your own culture, people will say, Santa Claus, it doesn't matter. Oh, and and Halloween, of course, is a bit more controversial for a number of reasons too, but for Christians. So anyway, we need to be fair in our judgment and reasonable in our judgment as well. When it comes to our own culture, our own practices, we need to be honest with our children. And as far as St. Nicholas goes, from what I've read, he's a really interesting person. He did a lot of really good things in his life, and a lot of the Santa Claus legends don't really have much to do with St. Nicholas. Some of them come from stories about Odin delivering gifts, and mixed with St. Nicholas giving to the poor and throwing gold in their rooms, and landing in socks and things like that. Landed in a sock one time, according to legend. St. Nicholas was very much concerned with caring for his people, with social issues, and a lot of good things. So anyway, I'm not trying to knock the memory of dearly departed Nicholas, who lived a very long time ago, but we should keep our attention on Christ when we're supposed to be celebrating Christ, and we should be careful not to accept pagan customs and pagan traditions as Christians. So that's what some of the comments I wanted to make about the issue of Santa Claus and pagan customs that can enter into Christianity. Thanks a lot for watching the video. If this has been a blessing to you, please pass the link on to someone else. Thanks.